Welcome back to the channel. I'm Crypto Trend Trader, and today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin in the longer time frames and get an idea where we're headed. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please trade at your own risk and don't risk more than you're willing to lose. Alright, so here we have Bitcoin on the daily Bitstamp chart. But before we dive into that, we did just get our weekly close, and the monthly close is tomorrow. So we're going to get a lot of resolution, I think, here in the shorter time frames. But I just wanted to basically show you guys that I'm not all talk, that I do actually take these trades and I do take these positions, and what I'm showing as far as technical analysis on here, although it's not financial advice, I am showing you that I do back up my trades and my financial and my technical analysis with actual trades. So here you can see my current positions. I have a short in from 99.11 on Bitcoin, 10,144 on Bitcoin, and 10,519 on Bitcoin, for an average P&L of about 21% or so. And I'm using 5x leverage on those positions, so anything over 20% is essentially 100% on your position. So you're basically doubling your money. So anyway, I just wanted to show that real quick. I'm not one to brag or show off my positions or anything like that. I just want people to know that I don't just get on here and make these videos, that I'm an actual trader, an active trader, and I do take the positions that I'm talking about. So here we have basically, like I said, the daily just closed, the weekly just closed, and we're approaching the monthly close here as well. So I just want to talk about what we got as far as resolution and what we can expect. So you'll see we got a huge bearish candle on the weekly, the breakout of that descending triangle that we've had our eyes on this whole time, potentially filling out this channel if we do continue to come down here. We are at some key support ranges, but again, based on how everything is panning out and everything, I'm expecting at this point in time continued sell-off. But I just want to pull up a couple tools and take a look at what we could potentially expect here. And again, keep in mind we are on longer time frames. But if this plays out to the bottom point here, where a lot of people would have it, basically breaking down out of that descending triangle, once we broke through that horizontal line right here, we basically knew we were going to lower prices. So what we're expecting to happen now is potentially like one of our Fibonacci levels acting as support, or even one of our moving averages acting as support. As you'll see from the bottom to the top here, the 0.5 was just broken completely through with very little effort at all. As a matter of fact, typically we would expect a lot more of a reaction off of that, but I think because of the extremely lengthy amount of consolidation that we were going through, once we did break through, we broke through with just a massive amount of volume. Our next basically key point that we have here is either this consolidation area that we put in on the way up for potentially a bounce here, which again we almost made it to, but not quite. Or more realistically at this point in time, I think what we can basically expect is something more like this playing out, where we make it down to the 618 and the 236, 618 of the move up and the 236 of the whole move down. But I think realistically that's going to line up perfectly with the bottom of this channel. If we do either continue to sell off immediately down to here, or if we get a bounce back up to the 0.5 and then a sell off down here, either one is definitely possible. Although, to tell you the truth, I think a lot of people were trapped from the top. I know a lot of people were trapped from the top, and then I think a lot of people get trapped at that 0.5 as well. So I think it's less likely that we would make it back up to that point, because a lot of people are going to be looking to get out of those positions, and it's just going to get front run left and right. So here we have with the weekly close, basically massive bearish candle. So I think it's likely that at this point in time we will see some continuation. I do just want to throw an indicator up on here real quick though. Oh, whoops. Already on here. Yeah, so basically we can see we did just cross over on the weekly, the on balance volume. We're already in a negative slope on the price confirmation. volume price confirmation indicator, and the CCI EMA is headed down and headed down violently on the weekly. Switching over to the monthly now as well. Again, same type of deal. We're getting ready to close out this monthly, and we basically have taken out the low of the past two candles, and it's possible if we get continued sell-off to 7,500 we take out the low of this one as well. But again, I think it's likely that we do see a little more continuation. We may get a bounce here off this level, but again, after closing that weekly like that and almost no bounce back up whatsoever, I wouldn't get too optimistic, and I wouldn't be buying for bounces. I would be looking for, you know, places to sell or places to short. You know, that's just my honest opinion, though. Let me pull up one more here. Just want to take a look at the moving averages on here. And again, we're on the monthly right now, and you'll see we sold off all the way down to the 10. Realistically, on the monthly, once we break above, we do get tests back down to the 10, so that's not necessarily that bearish. But if we look over to the weekly here, this is what's got me thinking it's extremely bearish. If you look this whole bull run up here, we never sold off back down to the 50, but this one time we sell off back down to the green, the 50 right here, and it's literally a wick and then gets bought straight back up, and then we never even come close to it again until we break down here. It gets bought straight back up, and then we finally go down above it. It gets bounces again, and then we finally break it and stay below it after that for capitulation. Now here we went down to it and we didn't get barely any bounce at all. We didn't close a wick, you know, get bought up into a wick, and that's extremely bearish. I would like to have seen much more of a reaction off of that, and at least a close like a third to a half of the candle wick, not just a huge red bar like that. So, but again, this is the 50 is a likely area that we would find support on the weekly, at least for some kind of bounce. But again, I wouldn't get too optimistic at this point. We did close our daily here for the 1, 2, 3, 4, our fifth candle and our fourth open underneath both 200 moving averages. The 10 did cross below the 200, and we're now getting the 50 crossing below the 90. So again, if we don't see a bounce here soon, we're going to be in big trouble. The 377 did act as support, but again, we're just pinned between these two again. Last time we got pinned here, we dumped. So I think it's likely we're going to get pinned here, possibly get a move back up to the 8,500 range and retest the 10 as it tries to cross the 200, and then again get a sell-off from there. But at this point in time, you know, any bounces we get are just going to get sold into. Until I see a change in behavior back to a bullish scenario, I'm just going to assume and continue to assume until I see further evidence that we are in fact in a bear market or a bear trend or a heavy correction is to ensue. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the long terms here. Again, I'm still bullish on the long term, but as far as this trend is concerned, the breakdown out of that descending triangle has led me to believe that we will see an extended bear market or extended correction from this point. You know, considering we may still get bounces, I think we could get bounces as high as 86, 87. But at this point in time, thinking that we're going to come back up here and test that 93.60 range, the bottom of the breakdown, is just, it's not that likely. But again, it is possible as long as we stay inside this channel. I think that's basically what we're going to start filling out now. We do have 3 touches on the top of the channel, which was our old descending triangle. And right now we have, depending how you drew this out, you could say we have 1 or 2 touches on the bottom here. So if you pulled this up a little higher, you could really say that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on this bottom here, but that we wicked out of it just a little bit. That is a possibility to call it. It just depends how you draw on it. I like how the heart line interacted here if you use the actual bottom in a couple spots, so I think that's the best way to do it. But again, that's it. Bitcoin on the longer time frames at this point in time looking extremely bearish. I don't think it's necessarily the best time to just jump into a short right here. I would look for a reaction and then short off of a key resistance level. But again, at this point in time, you know, you got to just feel it out, and don't jump into any trades to the upside unless you're just looking for a quick scalp. Again, it's not financial advice, but most important thing to do is trade with the trend. And as we remember, this was an uptrend, and as you can clearly see, this is a downtrend. And that's Crypto Trend Trader signing off.